God doesn't look to use great people because there are none. He uses people who look to make him great. There's the difference. Let me give you some examples. Think Moses. God wasn't interested in Moses being a stutterer. It wasn't about his eloquence. God requested his obedience. Think David, shepherd boy, turned warrior king. It wasn't about his outward ability. Why? Because God doesn't look as man looks at the outward appearance. God looks at the heart. It was about David's inward availability. It's the one he chose. Think Daniel and Esther, 2 different times, both with terrible circumstances. One in Babylon, one in Persia. It wasn't about their circumstances. It was about their character before the Lord. He chose to use them. Think Little John. Not Lil John, yeah, my Little John. If you were here for the first installment of Landmark Stories, you would have seen how God chooses to use not someone who's all polished, but someone who is broken. This is what the Lord looks to use. Now, the metaphor of the foundation and the seal, picture foundationally a gate and then the seal, works perfectly in setting the table for the metaphor of the next verse. Try to place yourself in Paul's mind. Timothy, study to show yourself approved. Be diligent in the word of God. Let the God of the word fill you up to overflow. Rightly divide the word of truth, orthotomeo. Cut it straight. Don't waste time arguing and debating unprofitable and unfruitful words. There are those that are doing that. They are leading people astray. They are causing faith to shipwreck. Hymenaeus and Philetus are of that sort. They are cancers to the body. But do not lose hope. God's foundation stands. Lies and the enemy's attempt cannot overthrow God's foundation. And his foundation is this: he knows those who are his. And those who are his are going to depart from iniquity. He continues that metaphor. But in a great house, verse 20, there are not only vessels of gold and silver, but also of wood and clay, some for honor and some for dishonor. Now you got to get this because I'm about to take you on a journey. He's using a metaphor. And the word before great house helps us understand how large the metaphor is. He doesn't say the great house. That one word, the, would denote he's speaking of something very specific, the great house of God. He uses the word a great house. So now he's broadening the metaphor. Like a great house, within that house are several types of vessels. Some vessels are made of metal, gold and silver, and you know when you use those choice vessels. Some vessels are lesser, clay and wood. And you know when you use those and what you fill those with. So he's juxtapositioning two wildly and widely different forms of vessels in a great house. Now, keep that metaphor where it belongs, in chapter 2, in context. Elsewhere in the Bible, Paul specifically, and Peter, will use another metaphor where he specifically calls the church God's great house, the household of God. Those that are chosen, those that are saved. You can see this as the visible church that gathers on any given Sunday, in any given city, in any given location, the visible church, the institutional church, the physical church, they're in the pews on any given Sunday. And there's a big difference between the physical, visible church, the institutional church, and the invisible, true church. I am not naive. Not everybody under the sound of my voice as I speak is a born-again, spirit-filled follower of Jesus Christ. So here's the passage that we are to look into. In the great house, two types of vessels.